Here are some highlights of this program.
Hello everybody.
Welcome to Brainstorm exclusive interview.
Our education should be corrected, adapted, and updated.
Live better, they can send their children to school because they can interact with their authorities.
Techniques, electricity, computer science, innovation,
And we know that this Brainstorm.
You yourself, after watching this interesting program, notice the final statement made by our notable guest, a brand new one. Welcome to Brainstorm. The public management and social development in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. That is the topic we're going to discuss during this program. Here are some of the questions we're going to try to find the answer during the discussion. What does it take to achieve a social development as far as the public administration or public management is concerned? Is the public management a social or political problem? I'm not the only one on this platform. I host my guest. His name is Yulu Kabamba. Hello, Mr.
Hi,
Kabamba.
sir.
How are you doing?
Fine, thanks. Happy for having me here.
Mr. Yuluka Bamba is a translator and an interpreter. We're going to spend at least 20 minutes together, or at least 26 minutes together with him here on this program. Yeah, we talk about the public management and social development in the Democratic Republic of Congo. When we talk about the public management, what does it imply?
When we talk about public management, this applies, or else I'm going to define it as a discipline first that consists in a set of processes and tools aimed at achieving optimal performance in an organization dedicated to public service. That is what I understand by public management. And public management draws a lot from the public administration because that is where we have the public policies. And public management has the big role, the major role of implementing those policies using the modern techniques of the management and the standard.
Okay, the explanations here are quite clear, but please watch this video which allows us to have another explanations or further information on the public management. And we'll be back.
When the UN came into being in 1945, the world was in one of the most transformative eras in history. In order to make governments more responsive to the needs of citizens in this period of change, the United Nations established a program on public administration. Through the years, the unit experienced several transformations, from a program that concentrated on the training of civil servants to a division that helps countries to build their public institutions. The division assists governments in building their capacities through training, knowledge sharing, and online tools. In the course of time, the environment, technology, and dynamics of public administration have changed. The division has reacted to these changes and promotes the adoption of new and improved practices. It stresses innovative approaches through development management, ICTs, and institution building. UN DESA's Division for Public Administration and Development Management continues to support countries around the world, so that they in turn can provide their citizens with efficient public service, based on transparency, participation, and collaboration.
What are some social sectors involved in the public management?
Social development.
Yeah, social sectors involved in public development.
Yeah, social sectors are very, very important. In fact, the overall aim and goal for all the work done by the public management, by the public administration, is to impact positively the social sectors, and social sectors today is very vast. That's where we talk about the well-being of the human being. That's where we also see notions like investing in people.
Okay, yes, is it true that the social sectors are really vast? We cannot name all of them, but there are some basic social sectors when we talk about the public management, we can implement that the public management so that those sectors benefit from the public management?
Congo's field is very huge. Sometimes I hear a leadership asking themselves the question where to start. If you look at the DR Congo's picture, you realize that we have problems in sectors like public health. We have serious problems in sectors like education. And we have problems with the the day-to-day living of the population. How do they get transport? How do they get the money, find the money, to pay for transport and many other things. And that also encompasses, according to me, all the rental problem. There are people who don't know not only what to do to find the bread, but also to pay for the rental. That makes it worse. And you see people talking themselves in the street because there are just too many problems. Looking at the individuals, you see they are affected by the social realities. And what I've named maybe just a few, but we have a lot more.
Yes, we look forward to the public management in order to assure social development. Can you say that the public management can assure social development in the Democratic Republic of Congo?
Yes, of course. Why? Look, let's proceed by comparison. If you look at, I won't name the countries. I'm not advertising. I'm not promoting those countries. Look at other countries where you see public management properly implemented. You will realize that social development comes automatically. And there are even indicators for those countries. They can tell you, look, we've got the statistics. People didn't have electricity, say 60% in 1919 or what. And then look, 2020, we had about 40% who have access to electrical power. In the year 2022, you have 80% who have electricity. That means that the public management policies implemented are good. Not only that, you would see as well the purchasing power. People will say, for example, the purchasing power was such in the year 2020. Now 2022 increased by such. They have that tradition of the statistics, but I think it's a problem here in the DRC. See? So, based on those experiences, based on what is happening in our own country, we can infer that good public management will have positive impacts on the social development and the development of each individual.
Okay, public management, well implemented, they can also solve a lot of problems in society. Please watch this video and we'll be back.
Public governance is the interaction between government and its society. It's about how government protects the members of society, develop, grow, take care of those members. And in that process, it needs to take care of two issues: what it wants to do and how it wants to do it. What includes what it wants to do in terms of education, health, transport, and other sectors of society. How it wants to do it means how to implement it, how to do it effectively, efficiently, professionally, and honestly without corruption. That's the focus that we take in the Department of Public Governance. So if you are interested in these issues, if you feel you want to become involved in improving people's lives, in improving the lot of children, in conserving and developing the economy and the environment, then this is something that you should consider in your studies. We train managers and politicians at all levels of government, at national level, at provincial and local and community government levels, and we teach them to be sensitive to the needs of all of their stakeholders. So we would like to see you in our next class. Consider public governance.
All right. As a Congolese, can you honestly assert that the Congolese public management assures social development? I think you have just tried to answer this question. You could come back on this again.
Yeah, looking at the Congolese context, let me come up with my own thoughts, with my own idea and vision. We forget in Congo that we are a post-colonial country in a post-colonial context. When I look at the textbooks in schools, I would see the realities of the past, left by the Belgians.
Like what, for instance?
You would see I've seen already the currency. You would see the old currency, but today they're talking about creating even confusion. If you tell somebody, for example, one Zaire, you tell the children, what do they make of it? It's very difficult. You go to the legal system. You have all the fines as provided for in the legal text with the old currency. So what is wrong? You see, I believe that we are in 2022, but sometimes I look at us as living in the year 1960s, which is very bad because realities are not the same. If there were in Congo like 10 million people at that time, today over 60 million people. If there was no no problem with the road infrastructure, today such is not the case because of that number and those coming from the provinces coming to settle here in Kinshasa. So we need brainstorming like we're doing here.
Okay, so now, what does it take to achieve a social development as the public management is concerned?
To achieve the social development, I think it's something that would require, for the case of the DRC, a change of the mindset. You have a lot of good people when they go into politics. What happened? They were good, but once they are in, either they forgot all the promises made, or they're not able, something blocking them from doing what they were promising, what they were dreaming to do. That's what I noticed, you see. So, for the case of the Democratic Republic of Congo, what it takes, I think it's a change right away of the system. The system is a problem. The system is old. The system is too old. We do not have a modern system. When people comes into a new system with the new requirements, knowing that there are expectations for the population, from the population, and knowing that we have in the modern world principles like accountability, knowing that there are elections to come, and to be elected, you must be judged by the population.
Yeah, talking about the new system is good, but who will implement or bring about that change, putting in place a new system? Who?
I think it can go from, according to me, if we have good parliament, if we have good civil society, if we have good government, if we have the people who stand up, no, we want this to change. It's not about killing people. It's not about, triggering what I call the hate speech. No, it's about a need. We see, we are in a shameful situation compared ourselves to small countries who used to be small yesterday, but today they are developed. What do they do? How did it work, that kind of miracle? Look at all these big nations. It's a matter of awareness, comparing ourselves to other people and developing in ourselves the desire to do better than those people.
Okay, so since we view in this discussion of social development, let's touch on infrastructure. What is your observation on the road traffic in Kinshasa City? Because we want you to go to be pragmatic on the ground. Mere good wish for a change is not enough, but we need to be on the ground to see some of the things such as road traffic. What is your observation around Kinshasa City?
I'm very sad.
Why?
I'm very devastated when I look at what's happening. My dear brother, if you have a car, you finish working, you go home, you get into your car. But there are people who don't have cars. They have to depend, to rely on the traffic, facility or transport. I can see them on the boulevard. In spite of the fact that they're tired after working, now they're standing there on the road In the middle of the road, they're not even afraid of the cars. They're waiting for a bus. How long does it take? Sometimes it rains. And you would see them, they missed their bus or their car, taxi, whatever, and they are walking long distances. And I can also see the sick people, covering long distances. I'm just devastated, and I will say that our infrastructures are poor. If I have a recommendation to make to the authorities, this is what I will tell them. It's no dignity to let people, fighting, struggling for the transportation means I see, gets fair, luxurious cars, big enough to get all of them. So some people would not even like to use their cars. They will get into public transportation. That may contribute to reducing the traffic jam. We have a lot of cars, a lot of cars on the road.
Okay, that's good just to regulate the traffic. It's true that there are a lot of traffic jams. Please watch this video to see some of the benefit thing done by the government or local government just to regulate the traffic jam with this video.
It's normal for drivers to spend hours in traffic every day here in Kinshasa, the capital of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Traffic police are meant to keep things moving. And now giant traffic robots are here to help. So far there's 2 on trial. This one directs a pedestrian crossing. Pedestrians like it.
It is better than before. Now you can cross with confidence. The robot is doing its job correctly.
The robot is the way towards modernization. We don't have to keep doing things by hand. We can change so that industry comes here.
There are few traffic lights in Kinshasa, and so the robots are welcomed. This robot is in the middle of a large crossroads. It's got red lights on the front and the back of its chest and green lights on the ends of its arms. Every couple of minutes it drops its arms, it rotates, and then it points the other way, first to allow the traffic to flow along this road, and then in turn to flow along the main road that cuts across it. In Kinshasa, the traffic's normally quite unruly, but for the large part it seems drivers do obey the robot. And unlike its human counterparts, it can't collect bribes. Traffic officers are poorly paid, and drivers often accuse them of extorting money. The robot's designer, Thérèse Izé, says inbuilt cameras will report traffic offences to a central computer instead. I asked her why use robots instead of traffic lights.
There are several kinds of traffic lights in the world, but I can tell you that the only robot in human form, in the shape of a policeman who is regulating traffic, is made in Congo. We are proud of that.
Thérèse runs a women's technology cooperative. She hopes authorities will pay for the robots to be installed in cities across Africa and beyond. She says she wants to promote Congo's female engineers and create much-needed jobs. Most people in Congo are poor following decades of conflict and widespread corruption. And in a country where a lot of the public infrastructure doesn't work, people are happy with something that does. Malcolm Webb, Al Jazeera, Kinshasa in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Okay. Now, let's move on. We talk about this sector, the transportation sector, when it comes to traffic. So when you walk or drive around Kinshasa City, the environment is really not tight. So who is to blame? Citizens or officials? Because we see dirty everywhere, dirt on every corner in the street. So who is to blame? Citizens or officials?
In the past, I used to say the authorities only to be blamed. Later on, I was saying it is the population to be blamed. But I realized that it's a so huge and complex problem. I would say it's our mindset to be blamed.
But there is a new, according to the latest, a new factory that is put in place in order to recycle plastic bags. So is this a positive change brought about by the officials just to cope with this problem?
A very interesting move, but still our mindset is a problem. Are we doing things properly? In DRC, something may start well, but in the months to come, in the weeks to come, what's likely to happen? So again, we are experiencing that problem. I mean, the mindset. Mindset is a problem. We need to change the system. We need to change the mindset. When people are educated and when people are aware that what is being done is for our own good, for our own health, you know. And when people realize that comes to such a realization, certain things will just flow and will come automatically.
All right, so you mean that in addition to that factory, people need to be sensitized in their mindset in order to know how to behave, to avoid throwing plastic bags everywhere. We'd like you to watch this video about the consequences, like what we call environment pollution caused by the plastic bag. Please watch.
At the southern end of the majestic Lake Kivu, bordered by lush green hills, sits Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo's Ruzizi Hydroelectric Dam. In recent years, all the plastic thrown into the Ruzizi River has been ending up here at the dam, hampering the facility's operations. Plastic bottles, cans, everything that can be washed away by rainwater ends here. Since January, one of the 4 units of the power plant, damaged by the waste, has been shut down.
Nous avons 4 groupes installés.
We have 4 groups installed. So there we have 3 groups which are in service, and group number 2 has stopped. It has a great impact on our production. It represents 6.3 megawatts. Of the total 30 megawatts that we can produce, you understand that 6.3 is not available. Every day these men head out to clean up, but that's not enough. The dam is also employing divers to clean the bottom of the river to prevent the turbines from being damaged. I have been doing this cleaning job for 13 years and I've suffered a lot during this time. 2 weeks never go by before tons of trash washes up here. Every day there's trash that I have to clean up and I don't even have the proper tools to do it. It's a real problem. The other problem is that the Bukavu City Council has no proper waste management plan, thus encouraging littering. Nicole Munemene collects plastic waste on the shores of the lake to make flower pots and other decorative articles. We're really doing our best to clean up the lake. We even try to prevent waste from reaching the lake. There are some households who call us today to pick up their plastic waste from their homes. The city needs a robust recycling program to effectively manage plastic pollution.
All right. In DRC, particularly in Kinshasa City, businessmen or women sell everywhere on the street without any regulation. What is your comments? Everywhere in the street, so this could also result to public disorder.
Yeah, when people don't know to what to turn, to whom to turn for their salvation, for their survival, that is the result. That is further deterioration of the mindset. That is the result. If we have the culture of dignity, even the authorities wouldn't let that go for a single day. The population themselves would realize that this is bad. You understand? But what happened for the Congolese people to get to that point? No, that is quite abnormal. I went to the market in my area last time. After the rain, oh, what kind of mud was that? I had to find a place to put my feet. It was difficult. I tell you, mud, dirty, and I ask people, they don't even realize, and it becomes quite normal. No, I think that the mindset must change, the system must change, and why not? I may venture to say that we need different people, and we need different authority. I not mean to change the authority. It just, I'm talking philosophical. I mean new persons. We need new persons, and if I don't want to say that, I just say we need new mindset.
That's your view. You're free just to assert whatever comes out of your mind. You see, you're free. So, but in addition, another problem to what I have just mentioned, recently many cases of casualties have been reported on media with a high death toll. Are these events out of control in Kinshasa City? People dying, burned, and so on. We heard about that on media. It means that the officials are out of these situations are out of control. There is nothing to do in order to prevent or to help that those things may not happen.
Yeah. The word that you use, the verb, let me make it a word now. I say prevention. I think that's where we're failing, where the country is failing in preventing. We're acting. We are the government, we are the parliament, we are the public institutions. What are we preventing? The policy on the prevention, preventing some old things to happen in the country. I think that is the problem. We wait until something happens.
Can you suggest something?
And then we decide.
Can you prevent some preventive measures to avoid certain things like a flood when it rains during, for instance, April? It rains abundantly. Can you come up with some suggestions on preventive measures?
Yeah, let me tell you that in this country, we have eminent professors, we have eminent environmentalists, we have people with a lot of experience, and the sector that the government or the field that is neglected, and I'm really worried to know that, is research. Research. If you conduct researches, if you invest in researches, if you invest in people, you would have the findings of researches, the reasons why, the why of the situation in a country. Why do we have the flood at such an area? What we need to do. If you have findings like those, reports, if the government could listen to that, if you can use expertise in the country, I think we'll be able to prevent, because we prevent based on the elements of research.
Okay, the idea is really commendable. Please watch this video on consequences of flood, and we'll be back.
A gaping wound in the heart of the city. What was once the main street of Mount Ungafula on the south side of Kinshasa is now a treacherous ravine. It's just one of the disastrous consequences of unregulated urban development in the capital city of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. In the past 6 years, erosion has become so severe that some residents now find themselves on the edge of a cliff.
There is a big hole that is about 17 or 18 meters deep. There are schools that have collapsed. There are houses collapsing. There are markets collapsing. There are pharmacies, shopping complexes. Everything is gone.
Cut off from the rest of the city, the shopkeepers in this deprived area can't do business anymore.
This erosion scares us because we have all lost a lot of things. It makes things bad for us. This road was our source of supply to earn our living. Today, we can no longer do business. I'm a widow, and it is very difficult to make a living.
In the past 20 years, Kinshasa's population has doubled. Africa's third most populous city is now home to some 12 million people. New neighbourhoods have sprung up, often chaotically, on the fragile earth of the hills surrounding the city. Going to school remains, at best, a challenge, and at worst, a real danger. Some parents opt to keep their children at home altogether.
I tell you, crossing this ravine is dangerous. It's a permanent danger to have such erosion when the school is taking care of very small children, 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds.
Work started to restore the road after protests by angry residents, but there have been construction projects like this before. Up to now, none have been finished, leaving inhabitants to make do themselves on the edge.
All right. We're moving little by to the end of our show. So there is a saying, to govern is to prevent. Can this statement be applied in DRC?
It should be applied in the DRC. Not can be applied. It should be. Everywhere. Everywhere. If I am a minister, or if I am a parliamentarian, a member of parliament, or whatever, I'm in the position of authority, I need to think by preventing. That is saving your country. That is saving your people. You may as well. Look, it's a good initiative now. It's controlling the public fund where there is embezzlement. That is good. The person who had this initiative know that in future the country needs money, needs a lot of money to cope with the difficult situations. That is to be applauded. That is, there is an element of prevention in that. And we need to widen the scope, extend prevention everywhere. What are we doing in education? If we can work for a better education, a quality education, or we would have Congolese well equipped tomorrow to solve the country's problems. We won't turn to the foreigners every time, to the foreign expertise, because we invested the best way in education.
Congolese leaders in high office sometimes face indescribable problems which impede their political willpower. Is that true?
Yes. Sometimes I pity some of them. They have the goodwill. Some politicians really have the goodwill. They want to do good. But one problem is the system. What kind of system are they in? You know, the system is stronger than themselves. Number one, you see, and we can say that there are people who can do better. Unfortunately, there are some constraints and heavy constraint. What about our family ties, the tribal ties? You see, in our society, what about the political parties' connections?
Right.
You have to satisfy the member of your political parties. So, if we could, lay aside all that, if we could adopt the principles for development.
Right.
Turn to those principles, stick to those principles, things would work somewhere automatically.
So all the things we have just said, so if we want to keep a clear idea in our mind, so can we say that the public management, if we want to say the state clings the state matter clearly, is it a political or social problem? If so, why?
The public management?
Is it a political or social problem?
Oh, implications. I would rather talk about implications. There are political implications in the management. Without political will, it is very difficult. It does have social implications. If you don't deliver, then you run into trouble because people will see, why are you sitting there? You're not doing anything. And your country will run into trouble. You have all kind of trouble which you won't be able to solve.
Okay, now the last question before we end. What are some perspectives as far as the public management and social development are concerned?
Yeah, the perspective. Let me say, put it so short. I would say we need new public management. We need to understand that what we have been using thus far, it's an old system. You go to a public institution, you see people don't even know what time they get to the office, what time they leave, how long they stay in the office. That is all wrong. And then the social development, we need to develop individuals. We need to invest in people and to check, to ensure that the people in Kasai are well, are living good life. And the people in Katanga, in Bandundu, everywhere, we need to have indicators to measure that. That is social development.
Thank you so much for coming and try to answer different questions during this program.
Thanks for having me here.
Okay, thanks for watching this program. There are many, many things to say, so we look forward to discussing other issues related to social and even problems faced every day. Take care of yourself. Bye. Here are some highlights of this program.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome to Brainstorm exclusive interview.
Our education should be corrected, adapted, and updated.
Live better, they can send their children to school because they can interact with their authorities.
Mechanics, electricity, computer science, innovation, yeah.
And we know that this brainstorm.
You yourself, after watching this interesting program, notice the final statement made by our notable guest, a brand new one.